Hey, what's going on everybody? Jason here, and welcome to a very important video that I've been meaning to make. I've gone back and forth in my head whether or not I should make this video, and with the launch of Modern Warfare 2, it becomes more apparent that I should be making this video. Because Modern Warfare 2 is supposed to be the catalyst that ushers in the new age of Call of Duty for Call of Duty 2.0. However, I think it's safe to say that myself and some other Call of Duty fans out there are seeing just a lot of the same things that we've seen in previous years. So today, I'd like to give my thoughts on the current state of Call of Duty, and I think what I'm about to say is definitely the unpopular opinion. Thus, the title of this video being something along the lines of the unpopular opinion on Call of Duty, or something like that. Now, what I'm gonna do for this video for the most part is just speak my mind. I have a bullet point list of notes right next to me about what I want to talk about, but basically everything I'm gonna be saying today is coming from the heart. So I think in order to grasp where we are and honestly where we're headed for Call of Duty, I think we need to start with Modern Warfare 2. The launch of Modern Warfare 2 has been polarizing to say the least, because the bottom line is, at the end of the day, Modern Warfare 2 is not the most advanced Call of Duty game like they promised in the marketing. Now, I know when it comes to marketing, you want to make your product as flashy as possible. You want to make it look like the best thing ever. However, this particular product, being the game, doesn't really feel like a complete product. For example, there have been things that they promised at launch that aren't in the game yet, like the Tier 1 hardcore mode. Certain weapons that they promised in blog posts aren't in the game, and what else is there? The Vault Edition content that people are supposed to have in their accounts right now is not in their accounts for a lot of people right now if they pre-ordered the game, the $100 version of the game. There is no combat record or barracks to track your kill-death ratio, how many games you've won, what kind of game modes have you played the most, things that will add a little bit of extra fluff to Call of Duty to make it have a little bit more character to it. And I know that there are a bunch of Call of Duty fans out there, and I would even argue most Call of Duty fans out there like to look at their stats every once in a while. And on top of some empty promises, the game also launched in a completely unacceptable state. You have a ton of lobby errors, you can barely join your friends trying to play online because lobbies and servers are constantly crashing and unstable. At launch, people were experiencing these really high latency games and there was lag constantly, and this one is honestly the worst one in my opinion, the installing screen bug. I've had this glitch happen to me a few times, and basically what this is you can't even get into the game because a pop-up will show up saying that you're still installing the game, and the only quote-unquote fix to this problem is to reset my PS5. And that's completely unacceptable because you shouldn't have to reset your console just because the game doesn't work. You also have these random crashes that completely crashes your game and brings you back to the home screen of your console. Why? Who the hell knows? And how can we forget that their Ricochet anti-cheat that they've been bragging about is banning people for no reason? Imagine, if you will, you log into Modern Warfare 2 one day and randomly you are banned. It's almost like the Ricochet anti-cheat is going rogue and banning people whenever the hell it feels like it, and it just really boggles my mind that they allowed it to get to this state. Now, I could be talking about a lot of other problems when it comes to Modern Warfare 2, but there are other YouTubers out there that have detailed things in much more detail than I have in this video, and you guys should go check out those videos because I wanted to cover Modern Warfare 2 right now at the beginning of the video so we can get into the meat and potatoes of what I actually want to talk about. So before I put Modern Warfare 2 on the back burner, I think it's important that I talk about why Modern Warfare 2 is contributing to the decline. And that decline is the overall decline of Call of Duty over the years and the uprising of over-consumerism. So touching on some of the gameplay systems in Modern Warfare 2, they introduced a feature where you can switch out your upper receivers of some of the firearms. Now, I think the concept of adding something like that to the game is pretty cool, and it adds an extra level of customization to the game, and it makes the game feel a little bit more realistic, but you have to acknowledge the elephant in the room when it comes to a system like this. The way it's implemented into Modern Warfare 2 is forcing you to play the game for longer periods of time than even Vanguard or Modern Warfare 2019, because the high weapon levels in some of these previous iterations of modern Call of Duty have made it so that you play the game for a long period of time and you're stuck using this one weapon, and then eventually you'll get all of these attachments and then you have a crap load of other weapons to grind. Well, now in this game, not only do you have to grind the weapon levels, and by the way, the weapon XP is really slow in this game, so it takes forever to level them up anyways, not only do you have to unlock the normal attachments for the base weapons and the base platforms for the weapons, but now you have to level up each of the receivers for weapons that you are able to interchange the receivers on. And in order for you to use a different receiver, you have to use a different receiver that you might not like. And the fix to that, honestly, is just universal XP and a universal tracking system where it doesn't matter what receiver you use. At one particular level, you should be able to unlock one receiver, and then at another level, you should be able to unlock another one. Instead of forcing people to use a bunch of different weapons, artificially inflating the playtime, and you see where I'm going with this. So the way they designed it, especially this year, is to make you stay on the game for long periods of time, and so that you are constantly playing the game to unlock new things, and those things give way to completely new things, and you don't even have the previous thing unlocked because you already unlocked something that you wanted to use, but then in order for you to use something else, you have to use a completely different weapon, and you're going back and forth between all of these weapons. And I like the idea of encouraging people to use different weapons, but this isn't it. This is not how you encourage people to use weapons, because if I want to go ahead and use a particular weapon that I can make from a receiver switch out, I shouldn't have to use a completely different weapon, or I shouldn't have to use a completely different weapon platform in order for me to have fun with a particular weapon platform. And at the end of the day, it's all about inflating the playtime, because if they're able to show their shareholders, hey look, more and more people are playing Call of Duty and look how long people are staying on the game, then the shareholders will be happy, and then they'll want to invest more into the game, and then people will think that everything is totally fine in Call of Duty. They want to make sure that you are constantly coming back to the game so that you don't play anything else. The longer playtime is also exemplified with how the maps are laid out, and the map structure is really catered to campers and, quite honestly, brain-dead gameplay. The game does not encourage people to be better at the game. Instead, it encourages a mindless grind fest for you to grind out these camos, grind out these weapon levels just for the sake of doing it. Because that's what we've been told time and time again. Call of Duty is all about the grind, man. It's all about investing so much time into the game, grinding it out, and oh, I have all the gold camos, and I have dark matter, or I have Orion camo, which I don't even think looks that great in Modern Warfare 2, to be honest. And it's all about not going outside and not touching grass, and you should dedicate your life to Call of Duty because that'll make you cool or something like that. You know, I joke about it all the time on stream about touching grass and going outside and, you know, drink water, do something productive instead of playing the game for 12 hours a day, but there is some truth to that joke. And so now you have a consumer base that will turn on the game, play the game for the entire day, and not even get to where they want to be by the end of the day because there's so much tedious and lucrative weapon leveling that it just gets really repetitive. Now, by itself, the camo grinding might be a little bit easier this year, but the convoluted weapon leveling and the unlock tiers for all of the receivers and the platforms fill the void where the camo grind would have been. And even when you unlock the attachments and the camos that you want for your guns, when you jump into the game itself, the time to kill is completely inconsistent. Sometimes you'll kill somebody in 1 to 2 bullets, and then sometimes you have to unload a whole magazine into somebody. And this kind of inconsistency boggles my mind because how do you ruin a gun shooting a bullet? Shotguns, for example, and the pellets that come out of a shotgun. Sometimes when I'm right next to somebody, the shotgun doesn't even kill them. Other times, the enemy could be 30 yards away and I'll kill them in one hit. So the inconsistencies are pretty annoying, and it makes me lose faith every single day in their game design. And the Call of Duty community is so convinced in telling you that the real issue here in Call of Duty is the movement, when in reality, talking about the movement is just a cope. You have the one side of the aisle with the sweaty tryhards that are so upset that there's no slide canceling in the game and it's so clunky and they can't do their twitchy fast movement. But then you have the other side of the aisle talking about the camping and how the gameplay is really slow. And don't get me wrong, the gameplay in Modern Warfare 2 is really slow, but the point is, when people are debating the movement system and debating whether or not, oh, this way to move is good, or oh, slide canceling is the greatest thing ever, or this one's my favorite, get good. I don't know why that's still an argument in 2022. No matter what they're talking about, it's all just a cope, and it's completely ignoring the main issues with Call of Duty, because this franchise as a whole has way too many problems to just talk about the movement. So for all of the people who are feeding into this try hard, get good at the game, let me argue with you on Twitter over the movement kind of culture and this toxicity that I'm seeing online, stop it. You guys are part of the problem. The reason why you're part of the problem is because it's designed for it to be a part of the problem. Because if they have people talking about the game, whether in a positive or negative light, they really don't care as long as people are talking about what's happening in the game. So instead of focusing on the real problems like the game not working, Call of Duty HQ is a gateway for you not to own any Call of Duty games, more on that later, and the entirety of Modern Warfare 2 being a $70 ad for Warzone 2.0, everyone is so focused focused on surface level inanity. We should talk about how Activision is completely money hungry and incompetent nowadays, and that the Microsoft acquisition of Activision is Activision just running away from the whole situation, and how Bobby Kotick is a terrible person handing over his company in a scared, frantic way to another person who is not so great. And you guys guessed it, it's Bill Gates. I don't trust Bill Gates owning Call of Duty. If you guys didn't trust Bobby Kotick owning Activision, which owns Call of Duty, I think we shouldn't trust Bill Gates with it either. You want to talk about corporate dishonesty and just not being a good person? These two are two peas in a pod. And so part of this transitional period for Call of Duty is this coveted Call of Duty 2.0. And Call of Duty 2.0 is supposed to be the next era for Call of Duty and everything's gonna be super great. When in reality, how has the beginning of Call of Duty 2.0 been any different than the launch of any other previous Call of Duty game? We even have this new thing called Call of Duty HQ. And Call of Duty HQ, the way I understand it, is gonna be a place where all of the Call of Duty games are going to be. So there's gonna be one big application where you're gonna have Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2.0, the next Treyarch game, the next Sledgehammer game, if they get another game that is. And you'll be able to open it up in this Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu style menu and application. And we see the inklings of that here in Modern Warfare 2 because when you boot up the game, you see Call of Duty HQ and that you can specifically select Modern Warfare 2. Plus, Call of Duty hired some ex-Hulu employees to make the user interface for Modern Warfare 2, which by the way is horrible. They really did a good job making Call of Duty feel really corporate and empty, and the user interface is also an example of that. And at the end of the day, when it comes to Call of Duty HQ and Call of Duty 2.0, this is a gradual shift so that you don't own a Call of Duty game anymore. Well, what do I mean by that? Didn't millions of people just pay $70 for Modern Warfare 2? And yes, for now, the Call of Duty games will cost money, but when you have Call of Duty HQ and all these Call of Duty games are going to be here in this one kind of subscription-based service, you will not own the Call of Duty games in the future. Because if they're going to try to replicate Netflix or Hulu or one of these streaming services, it's only inevitable that they make Call of Duty a subscription-based game. Now, you can call me conspiratorial all you want, but I just really don't trust these people and these executives to actually make the right decisions when it comes to Call of Duty, which is why currently I'm hesitant on the whole Xbox Game Pass being a quote-unquote good thing for Call of Duty, because all you do is own a subscription to Game Pass. Microsoft can just take off games whenever they feel like it. You see, the novelty in actually owning a game is that you actually own the game and you expect some sort of standard for the product that you've purchased. And when you have a subscription service, you are at the mercy of what that company puts out. For example, Netflix. If you have a Netflix subscription, they can decide whatever kind of shows they want to put on their platform regardless if you hate them or not. Same thing goes for removing your favorite shows. You have no say in that because you are a subscriber to their service. They are providing strictly what they want to provide. And yes, I know you have customer analytics and popular shows that they make bank on, but the bottom line is you don't own that. And I'm afraid Call of Duty is going to be going in this direction. All the signs are there and the writing is on the wall, calling this Call of Duty 2.0, the new era of Call of Duty. And it's no surprise that with the rise of so many subscription-based services that Call of Duty is going to be following in the footsteps of that. So when Call of Duty eventually becomes, let's say, $10 a month, because that seems to be the standard for some of these streaming services like Hulu and Netflix, then don't be surprised when Activision and then Microsoft, if Microsoft ends up taking control of Call of Duty, change things for the sake of change, fitting their bottom line and their corporate needs. And oh, wait a minute, where have we seen that before? Oh yeah, Modern Warfare 2, changing things for the sake of changing things. In addition, I firmly believe that it gives them a reason to not add anything extra to the game after you've purchased a subscription, because you as the consumer don't own the product and you can't hold any standards because they still own the product and you are paying to use their service. And that is the key word, their service. It is no longer your copy of the game. And that's where I think we're headed. This in turn gives Activision a reason to take little to no responsibility for their negligence and incompetence when it comes to developing Call of Duty games. So for all the people out there saying that these subscription-based services are a good thing, hold your horses. And especially since Fortnite skyrocketed in popularity, Call of Duty has been trying to copy a lot of things from not just Fortnite, but a lot of systems from Fortnite, like the shop and the battle pass. And because Fortnite is a free-to-play model, they make all of their money off of the bundles and the battle pass. Now I know a lot of people out there are going to say, well, Call of Duty is heading in the free-to-play direction too, and it's not going to be the subscription-based service like you talked about. And to that I say, I don't think Activision is going to give a crap about that. Because let's face it, if you can get a fan base of tens of millions of players to pay for a subscription service each month and have them pay for bundles in Warzone 2.0, they will be raking in the cash. Because think about it this way, Call of Duty right now is $7 $70. But if you were to have a subscription to Call of Duty for the 12 months in the year, they would be making more money off of your subscription than if you just purchased the game once. And then on top of that, you have this fan base that goes absolutely crazy about these bundles in the store, and so many people buy so many bundles. There is a reason why Call of Duty makes millions of dollars every single week, because Call of Duty is no longer about the individual players and how the individual players are having fun, because they just want to keep you on the game for long periods of time and sell you so many bundles that you are the product. You are just a number on an analytic spreadsheet to them. Is it really a surprise that the Activision IDs have a bunch of numbers barcoding each and every one of us? They take a look in their analytics at COD player 8346811 and they see that this player purchased 10 bundles. And then they analyze the bundles and they analyze what makes that marketable, and then they push out more bundles like that. Why do you think there are so many anime bundles in the store? And why do you think the whole anime thing in Call of Duty is a meme at this point? Because it's super marketable, and the majority of people who like Call of Duty also like anime. So all of this is just a ploy to get as much money out of you as possible. There are people who will literally spend thousands of dollars on Call of Duty bundles just so they can say they have the bundles. Which leads into the other point that I mentioned briefly about the rise of over-consumerism. Going back to what I talked about on how you are the product, Call of Duty contributes to this over-consumerism culture. Contemporary consumerism boils down to how many shows can I watch, how many things can I buy, and how can I be exploited as quickly as possible. And these corporations, in tandem with the government, just in case some of you thought it was just the greedy corporations, your government hates you too, they did a really good job convincing you that over-consumerism is the way to go in American society, and there's nothing else that you should be caring about, and you should just only care about what's on TV and what the screen people are saying and selling you. A lot of these people have been stripped of an actual identity, and they revolve their entire lives around consumerism. Their entire lives are dictated by think tanks from these big brands and corporations and the government, and these people grasp onto these concepts to try to have some kind of meaning. And might I add, it's all by design, thinking that the government and the corporations are all the good guys and that you should trust them and trust everything that they sell you and just play the game for the sake of playing the game, and it's just something to do, and oh, you know, just continue to buy the games, continue to watch the Marvel movies, continue to watch the new Star Wars shows, and just continue to consume without even thinking about it. And now, tying this all back to Call of Duty, I know it might have sounded like I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I said what I said for a reason. Because when you have such a big and influential corporation like Activision pushing out this slop of a game, it's concerning and very insulting to the player base. In addition to them literally trying to mimic other soulless corporations right down to the user interface, it's all very concerning. And then you have this complete psyop of the Call of Duty community convincing people that the Microsoft acquisition of Activision is going to be the second coming, because Activision and Microsoft know this, and Activision announcing that there's not going to be a premium Call of Duty game in 2023 might seem like a good thing on the surface. It's really just to save face and to try to get in people's good graces, because you know damn well, even assuming that there's not going to be a Call of Duty game every single year when Microsoft takes over, each of the games are going to be very corporate. If you think Call of Duty lost credibility and personality now, wait until Microsoft takes over. And the only shreds of personality that Call of Duty has left boils down to the actual developers themselves from the studios and not from Activision. Because I know that there are people who are passionate about game design who work at Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games, Raven Software, Toys for Bob, all the other companies that make Call of Duty, and these are the people that want to make a really good product. And yes, I recognize that the studios that I mentioned are definitely not out of the woods, and they've had their own contributions to the decline of Call of Duty. But at the end of the day, who's calling the shots here? It's Activision. So overall, the state of Call of Duty is not looking very good. My prediction for Modern Warfare 2 and the DLC seasonal cycle for this game is that it's going to be very similar to Vanguard, with a very drip-fed, slow content drop of a year. And honestly, the last time we had actual good seasonal content was Black Ops Cold War. Black Ops Cold War always added something to the game to make it different. And when it comes to the future of Call of Duty and the future of seasonal content, I feared that it's going to be drip-fed at an even slower rate. Because as the days go on, Activision does not have an incentive to actually make a good product as long as they are making tons of money off of an individual. So overall, to summarize my thoughts on the current state of Call of Duty, break free of being the modern consumer. Break free of the conditioning that you've been taught ever since you were born. I encourage you all to take up a hobby, go outside, do some exercise, read some books, learn a new language, learn a trade, do something for your country, contribute to society in a positive way instead of wasting your life on Call of Duty for 13 hours a day. And I'm speaking from personal experience as a content creator. I make Call of Duty videos. I spend a lot of my time here at my computer making videos. So I'm definitely guilty too for spending 11 hours, 12 hours, 13 hours every single day playing Call of Duty instead of going outside and doing something for my health. So I encourage all of you out there who are devoid of meaning, for people who don't have anything to fight for, people who are just very disenfranchised with the state of society and how the United States of America is right now, go outside. Do something productive, learn a trade, learn something that can actually contribute to society, and please, 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 break free of this conditioning that both these corporations and the government have manufactured to make sure that you are a sedated drone. And like we just covered, I think Call of Duty has done a really good job contributing to the over-consumerism that has plagued our society. It's honestly a shame. Call of Duty is my favorite gaming franchise, and to see it fall from grace this hard is really disheartening. And even though it is disheartening, and I know that Call of Duty is in a really bad spot right now, I'm not gonna give up. I'm still gonna make my content because I want to make tutorials and let's play videos that I think are fun for you guys to watch. Because at the end of the day, I want to entertain people in the most honest way possible. And if I can provide some kind of value to my audience, even though my audience might be a smaller audience compared to some other people out there, if I can still provide some sort of value to people in this world, then I will have done my job. So I really hope I was able to bring some sort of value or some sort of insight in this particular video. I don't make videos like this, so this was definitely something new for me, and I'm kind of glad that I made this video. It's given me the opportunity to get all these thoughts off my chest that I've been keeping in for a while. As the wise Thomas Jefferson once said, honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. And I hope all of you out there watching this video, listening to my voice, continue to seek the truth. Because without the truth, we don't have reality. And without reality, what is the meaning of existence? Anyways guys, if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you all for watching all the way through. Like I said, I don't make videos like this, and this was my first time attempting a video like this sort of long-form commentary style video. And honestly, it was pretty fun to put this video together. And of course, what do you guys think about the current state of Call of Duty? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, leave a like and subscribe if you're a brand new viewer. And with that said, have a fantastic rest of your day or night, depending on where you are in this crazy world, and I'll see you guys next time.